I've got a big question for you today. Is there more? Is there more to your life? Maybe it's more love. Maybe it's more from your career. Maybe it's more happiness. Maybe it's more fulfillment. Maybe it's more real estate. But is there more? Or can you safely say, sitting in your chair today, that it's enough? That whatever you have, wherever you are today, that's it. That's your lot in life, and it's not going to expand. It's going to stay exactly the same. Now, if you've got a belief that I have in my life, I'm committed 100% to growth, to self-development. And if you believe that, then you will be living till your last breath. You will not be apathetic. You will wake up in a very different way to someone that believes that they're kind of just bumbling along in life and there's kind of no real reason to live, and it's kind of like everything's just gray. So I want another question from you. Do you yearn for more inside of you? Do you know there's more potential? Is there more to experience, more to learn, more adventure? There maybe is more countries you want to see. You maybe want to achieve way more in your career, but is there more within you that's a burning desire? Are you sitting inside of yourself, realizing there's more to expand, explore, and explode out of you? And you're sitting and thinking, but what the heck? I'm frustrated. I'm regretting not taking opportunities I should. Then today you're in the very right place. You see, 80% of success is in showing up. Woody Allen. 80% of success is in showing up. When you think about that, take that at a very deep level, then put in the chat box. Write in the chat box, although you guys can't be where you are, but write some notes and take them home. I drive every day on the premise of that I have to every day show up in my best way possible in order to achieve what I do. Now, I want to take you back to a very important story in my life, something very close to my heart, and that is my grandmother. My grandmother, French Huguenot. Now, if any of you know, going back, the French left the shores of Europe and moved to South Africa. And she's from that whole generation, and obviously I'm part of that too. The French blood is strong inside of us. Now, this lady was one of the most refined, beautiful, kept looking woman I could ever have had as a role model in my life. And she impacted or had an impact in my life at such a profound level, because every day she showed me 4 major things that she spoke to me about. It was about get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. And in her story, I'm not a young child, and she always said to me, you know, you're not like me. You're very willful. But the difference between you and me is, Lucinda, you're the person that is going to show this entire family how it's done. Because even though I do a lot right, I've never achieved much in my lifetime. And if I've given you one thing in life, I want you to go in the world and share this message. This lady, she could recite a whole book without looking at a page. Poetry. She could outwalk anyone till the age of 95 years old. She made the most beautiful meals. Every morning she was up before anybody else. Even when she was in an old age home, retirement home, she was up before 7 o'clock in the morning, dressed in her beautiful French suit, with her brooch, with her necklace, fully made up, and presenting in the most beautiful way. She never had a down day. She never had an off day. She had no excuses. She showed up, she got up every morning, dressed up. And she never, ever stopped until her last day. Her last day was 103 years old. And I was with her hours before she passed over. And in her dying hours, I called the nurses to dress her up. I put on her beads, I put on her brooch, and under those covers was this frail woman. And I asked for dignity. I asked that she show up even at her last. So if you want to know my why is I don't want you or anybody else I get the opportunity to speak before, train with, or facilitate, ever to die with regrets, ever to die without fulfilling their potential. So if we start with the first part, it's about getting up. You all are going to face some form of failure, some sort of loss, some sort of rejection in your lifetime. Unfortunately, no one escapes it. What's important is, what are you going to do about it? There's my part to you. Are you going to let that dictate and destroy and ruin the rest of your life? Or are you going to see these things as redirections and an opportunity to change something and to come back stronger? How are you getting up? It doesn't matter how many times you fail or fall. What matters more is in your coming back. As you saw with the Olympic video that I showed earlier, any of these athletes could have given up. They didn't. They came back time and again. They would have failed, they would have lost, and they showed spirit and they showed commitment to getting up again. The other part is dressing up. Now, dressing up is not like I am today. That's not the only part. It's about the attitude, the confidence, the smile on your face, the connection with you and the camera, how I engage, how I hold myself, how I walk, how I present myself to the world. How are you showing up in your life? Are you proud of who you are when you look in the mirror? Can you in the morning say to yourself, I love you? Harry, can you say in the morning, Harry, I love you, with a smiley face? Harry, man, what a man you are. I love you. I do that every morning. And I want to challenge you to start looking at that. Absolutely, in your every day of your life, when you dress up, it's not just the clothes you're putting on. They talk about first impressions, it takes 7 seconds to work it out. When you're walking in a place here, and you might be Toastmaster in the world, you might be in any place you want to be. How are you showing up in the world? How are you showing up in social media? On your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, however. Are you showing up as the person that you want to be, the person that you are becoming? Or are you maybe putting things out there that maybe you shouldn't be terribly proud of? We show up in everything we do, in our conversations, our phone calls, our messages, our emails, and on social media, and our presence in the world every day of our lives. The third part is, yes, the showing up. Because you never, ever underestimate the power of visibility. Never underestimate the power of visibility. And I teach this all the time in PR. You can't be upset if people just, oh, I don't know about you. We checked out something about you on social media. You made some not very nice comment, or you posted some not very good content. We didn't really look in a good way. Do you know that people are watching you? Today we watch, we're like big brothers watching you. We can't escape. We're in a new world in 2023. But how are you showing up in the world? And the fourth part is never give up. Never give up. Like is ever give up. You have to really have the grit and that determination that no matter what comes your way. I always say, every time something comes to me, a curveball, a challenge, it's an opportunity. And every no is a yes coming up. I applied to speak at international as a keynote speaker, and they sent me an email saying, sorry, not this time. And that could have thrown me. And I'm like, that's cool. Because it means that no means one closer yes. Yes, they said no because something better is on its way. It didn't even affect me for 2 seconds. And that is how I want you to start me. To not get things crushed defeat and make you feel worthless and feel unlovable or feel that you're not worthy or of not of value, because you are. There's nobody in this room, anyone else like you, any of you. There's no replica of you. That's the beauty of life. But there weren't just 4 parts. The 5th part that my grandmother needed me to find out on my own, and took me years to find out after her passing, was about taking intentional action. And my quote by Pablo Picasso, action is the foundational key to success. Pablo Picasso, action is the foundational key to success. You see, you can be showing up 80%, that 20% is lying there in the action. So I can get up, I can dress up, I can show up, I can never give up. And I can still not make it. And I wasn't making it in my life until I learned that. That was that 20% that I needed. And it is absolutely critical. Your energy, your passion, you can see how I bring it to the room, right? Because I have that. I have a drive, I have a calling. I have a strong why for why I do what I do. I am always seeking to improve myself daily. The 10,000 hour premise, rule, practice. You've got to practice to master your craft in whatever it is in your life. You can't possibly expect to win the best world stages and get all these great awards and get out there without the hard work. You've got to take absolute action, focus with clarity every single day of your life, aiming for that goal that you set for yourself and know exactly what that outcome looks like. And I'm going to divide it now into three parts for you. 3 key ways in which I ignite that in you. The first part to igniting this, taking action, because you've got to build up, you've got to get momentum, you've got to get moving. You've got to get out of that seated, apathetic state and observing and watching the world go by. And you've got to start jumping into your life and saying, I'm full in. I'm taking this seriously. This is not a dress rehearsal, ladies and gentlemen. This is real life. And there's no time to wait, because you don't know when the time comes to an end. So if you want to take this seriously, there are 3 points I bring up. Curiosity. You know, like that giant Easter hunt. Who knows that giant Easter hunt when you were a child looking for Easter eggs around the garden? No? If you want to know how I live my life, every morning I get up, I go, where are the eggs? Where are the opportunities? What's out there? I'm expecting, I'm open, because I'm setting my mindset and I am believing that there's opportunity abounding in my life and around me. I believe that. And because I'm curious, because everything that comes my way, I check it out. I look under every rock. I leave no stone unturned. I don't waste opportunity. Every single day, I go out there in the world. Doesn't matter where I go. I am meeting people. I'm looking them in the eye. And I'm engaging with them. I know how to do that. And you just don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who's watching you. But if you're not showing up and you're not being curious, if I'm out and I just go and I go to a shop and I'm tunnel vision, and I go to the shop, I get on my car and I go to the shop and I just my shopping list, right? And I just walk straight through and I get to pay and I get back in my car and I go home. That is very different to I go out in the world, and when I park my car and I get out, I talk to people. I go inside, I talk, I engage, I learn from people, because I'm all the time building on the premise of curiosity. I want to learn. I'm an eternal student. I want to learn and I want to grow. The second part is this insatiable hunger. My mother always said to me when I was a child, how hungry are you, Lucinda? And I said, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. It's that hunger. Please, not eat horses. Nothing against vegans and vegetarians. Apologies. But what I want to say to you is you've got to have such a hunger within your heart and soul. Hunger. Not a little appetite. You've got to want the success, achievements. You've got to want to grow. You've got to want to, when the day you pass over, to be able to pass over knowing I did everything possible. I achieved everything I ever wanted. I've lived my life fully. I'm fulfilled. I've done it. I left nothing undone. And that's how I want you to live. You see, I watched too many people in my life die with resentment, bitterness, regret. Way too many. And that's my why. Is when I know, when I speak, when I go out there, the hunger to impact one more person, 10 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. If you've got that why, you'll have the hunger. You won't live this iffy kind of existence that doesn't amount to much. The third important part is persistence and consistency. Consistency. If I show up today and I kind of take action today and then I take a week off and I have a bad week and 2 and 5 and 7, I've broken my momentum. I've got to consistently commit. My social media is 3 times a week on this channel at this time. In everything I do, every morning, I have a ritual when I get up in the morning. I'm absolutely disciplined. And that's what I'd like you to do. I get up in the morning, I tell you how it goes. I've got things up on glass, on mirrors. I've got things written up. I have incantations. I've got a whole ritual. I get up, I drink water. I go to the mirror. I tell myself how much I love myself, like I did earlier. And then I start my day building myself up. So no matter what happens in my life, I've got buffered. I'm buffered. I'm so strong within my own being that anything, we've got no control of the outer world, but we have control of our inner world. And so I want you to build up you. Build up the strength of your being. That even when things don't go right, even when you challenge, even when you get losses and failures, whatever, it's like water off that duck's back. It's not going to hurt you. You've got to be strong. And you've got to know who you are, your conviction of why you're here. You see, there's another quote that I love a lot by Jim Rohn. You get rewarded in public for what you do in private. A lot of people say, sure, Lucinda, look at your success. TEDx, author, all these things you're invited to, keynotes, whatever you're doing, 2 Distinguished Toastmaster Awards. Okay, how much work it took? And just get it on a plate. It's the hours that people don't see. And when you actually do get out there, that is what the reward is. But it should be for the fulfillment within your own being, not the public recognition. It takes hours and hours. I'm at the moment going through a season of rebuild and re-strategy. I'm not in that peak state of my life at the moment. Actually, I'm in a rebuild stage. And people don't realize the work that's going on now will come out in about 6 months' time. There's new things. So at the moment, the conferences already were worked on last year already. So everything that's happening now happened actually 6 months ago. And that is where you need to start gearing yourself up, is working all these factors into your life. You see, it is about getting up and dressing up and showing up and never giving up. It's also about taking intentional action and creating the life that you do want. I really want to see you get hungry. In the next part, which we go into the experiential side, and we start interacting, I want to see you getting curious. And I want to see that commitment to yourself. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I want to dare you. Yeah, you. I want to dare you. I want to dare you to get up and show up and to thrive